Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to do an audio review. I get a lot of requests to review audio devices, and a lot of times I say no because I don't have time for that. But if there's something particularly unique about them, sometimes I'll say yes. So in this case, the company Mixcder, they have a new line of headphones that solves a fairly interesting problem, particularly if you have children that you would like to share a screen or an audio device among. And that is that these headphones, they're called the ShareMe line. And the premise is that they allow you to connect multiple sets of headphones to a single source. And so you can actually share an audio or video signal, or at least the audio signal from the video component there. So I thought that was interesting, and so I agreed to take a look, and I requested the ShareMe 5s, which are the most recent in the line, and then the ShareMe Pros, because something with the word Pro in it surely has got to be pretty good. So I've been taking a look at these over the past several weeks and reviewing them, sharing them out with some of my family members and getting their feedback as well. So overall, here are the highlights from these. The ShareMe functionality, it works as advertised. You can fairly simply pair these up to each other and then connect to a single audio device, and your sound is shared between the two, and so you can very easily share either audio or video. And once you go through the fairly simplistic first syncing up process, after that it's really as simple as powering them both on fairly close together within 1 meter, and then they'll automatically sync up with one another. And so anyway, that works great. The only downside that I noted is that if I was watching very, very closely with video content where it was zoomed in close on faces, I could observe a little bit of a lag between the movement of the lips and the sound reaching the ear. And I didn't really notice that when using them independently. Other than that, though, it works pretty flawlessly. Overall, the design of these is nice, if not exceptional. Materials feel like plastic. They're actually nylon and over a metal core. So nylon, of course, being a more durable material, and so that should be fairly good. The actual ear cups themselves are quite comfortable, I find, and they are a kind of a leatherette, a synthetic protein designed to where they should be a little bit more durable than actual leather. Overall, I slightly prefer the ShareMe 5s in that because of the back design, I like the physical look of them a little bit better overall, except for the fact that the Pros have a more nicely padded headband, a little less padding, and the padding's only on one side for the ShareMe 5s. But the actual ear cups themselves, they're a little bit deeper because of the back design, and so I find them both to have a little bit better isolation. I also find them to be a hair more comfortable in terms of the cups themselves, and there's a little bit more low end, and I think it's more, they have the exact same driver size, they cover the same frequency range, so I think it's more about the cup design itself that allows me to hear that. Both of them offer good sound isolation, but not as good as the best kind of active canceling earbuds. And my kind of real-world test is I use them on a lawnmower. I like to listen to audiobooks while I'm mowing the lawn, and so you really need great sound isolation for that. And I found that I couldn't get as good as what I wanted out of either of these, whereas I could with a good set of earbuds. But in most environments that are less punishing, you should find the sound isolation to be quite good. Sound quality I found to be good, not audiophile top level, but I think that most people would have a hard time hearing a difference between what you can achieve with these and much, much more expensive headphones. Overall, they have very good balance, frequency response. As I said, maybe a little bit more punch on the low end on the ShareMe 5s, and whether that's a good or a bad thing comes down to taste. And our family of 5, 3 of us preferred the sound of the ShareMe 5s, 2 preferred the ShareMe Pro. And so it really comes down to your own personal preferences when it comes to that. A couple of things that I do want to detail that I like about them is that as a part of the overall setup, number one, they are charged with the very ubiquitous micro USB cord, and so just plug it into either an active USB port, or if you have an AC adapter. These don't come with an AC adapter. It's very rare that headphones do. The other thing that I like, however, is that they come with a patch cord, and they have a line in on both of them to where even if the battery goes dead, they can operate as passive or analog headphones and just plug into an audio device. The cord itself, I think, is about 5 foot long. Of course, you could use a patch cord, somewhere else of whatever length you might like, and so it allows you, even if the battery goes dead, to continue to listen to your music. Or the other thing is it would allow you to connect to a non-Bluetooth audio source, and so just makes them a little bit more versatile, kind of a hybrid Bluetooth analog setup that I like. What I don't like is the overall ergonomics, particularly the ShareMe Pros. It has on one side, the left side, it has the power off, volume up and down. Biggest challenge is that the volume up and down, they're situated right next to each other, nothing in between. They do have a little raised nub on them, but I find that when they're up, they're too close for me to be able to easily feel where one button ends and the other begins. As a result, I find that I, will frequently do the opposite of what I'm trying to do. I'm also not crazy about the volume implementation of either of them. Rather than just directly controlling the volume level of your audio source, as most headphones do, they have an internal range. And so I find that if you don't want to be maxing out your internal range and find that they're still not loud enough and have a lot to go yet on your audio device, you need to turn your audio device up fairly loud, and then you can just control the volume from within. I would prefer them to just directly control the volume. That's not what they do. It is worth noting also, of course, if you are connected in analog mode, that you lose all of your controls from the actual headphones. You have to just control your device, old school. The other side of the Pros has the play pause button and the forward and back track. That works better because the play pause button is in between the forward or back track buttons, and so there's more space. They've got that little nub, but you can actually feel it because there's space enough between to discern between. The other thing I'm not crazy about is that the power on and off button, it can also be used if you hold it down kind of for a medium touch to recall your last dialed number if you're connected to a phone as your audio device. Only problem is that there have been a few occasions where I've been trying to power them off and I've ended up redialing someone instead. And so I'm not crazy about that. The controls on the ShareMe 5s are actually simpler, but they end up working better. Mostly because the volume up and down, which is also, play advanced track or go back track, buttons, they're put in a completely different location from the the power / play pause button, and so it makes them much easier to find just when you're reaching up to touch and to feel them and to control them. And of course, you just hold it down a bit longer if you want to go back and forth on a track as opposed to turning volume up and down. And so I just find them a little bit easier to use than I do the ShareMe Pros. My personal preference of these two is I actually like the ShareMe 5s a little bit better in their overall implementation. I will note, however, that while both of them have pretty awesome battery life, the ShareMe 5s are rated between 14 and 16 hours depending on what you're doing, and the Pros are rated for 20 hours, which is pretty exceptional. Truth of the matter is that I've had a hard time running either one of them down, and I haven't had to recharge either of them in the whole time that I've been reviewing them. They just keep going and going and going, and so battery life is fantastic. Bluetooth signal is very strong. I find that in both of those things, that's a big advantage for these over-the-ear headphones. There's just more room to put all of those things than Bluetooth buds, which can be a little more questionable in the Bluetooth signal strength, that type thing, and of course battery life. The winner of my last comparison of Bluetooth buds had an 8-hour battery life, and so the lower performing of these two is double that, almost triple that with the Pros. One other thing to note is that neither of them comes with a storage case, which is kind of a downside. The ShareMe 5s, however, do have an extra hinge that allows you to fold them up into a smaller area. The Pros don't have that. Overall, these, I think, provide pretty good bang for the buck. You have to familiarize yourself with the ergonomic quirks of them. I think once you get it figured out, it'll probably be fine. I review a lot of gear, so I don't have a long time to familiarize myself. I want them to be well designed right out of the box. Overall price is very affordable for these, particularly, considering the pretty big advantage being able to pair them up and connect a couple of them to a single audio device. The ShareMe 5s come in at about $55, closer to $60 for these. I'll throw linkage to both of them down below if you'd like to do some shopping for them on Amazon. You can also follow me on social media down there, and if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.